Okay, well, thanks again for having us this week. And we finally got our double and treble from last week, which was great. We got there eventually.
Yep.
So on a good run now. So just a couple of quick talking points before we get down to business again as usual. So first of all, last weekend's soccer was overshadowed by the harrowing events at White Hart Lane with Fabrice Muamba. It was great to see the game united in support of the Bolton player, and more so the fact that he's recovering now. What were your thoughts on an emotional week for soccer?
Well, it was a terrible incident. He's a young man, he's only 23.
Yeah.
Fortunately, a cardiologist was in the stadium
Yeah.
and emerged from the crowd, and they were able to resuscitate him, get him to hospital, and he appears to be making a recovery, which is, I think the cardiologist involved said it was a miracle, because he was effectively, his heart wasn't beating for 78 minutes. So it's alarming when it happens. A couple of other players in recent years have died, young men. These are obviously genetic defects in people's body. This screening is not absolutely guaranteed to detect these things. So we hope there's a happy outcome here.
Yeah. And Lionel Messi smashed the Barcelona goal scoring record this week with his 8th hat-trick this season. Where does he stand in your list of the greatest players ever to grace the game?
Well, there have been so many great players: Maradona, Pele, Cruyff, Beckenbauer, going back to Stefano over the generations, really. George Best, of course, Bobby Charlton, people like that. Messi is up there with the best of them. It's very difficult, and I think it's wrong, to ever say that one person is the greatest player of all time, however great they may seem. You've got to look at people in the context of their own era. But he is the greatest player of this generation of players, and he is a very, very great player indeed. He's a magnificent footballer, and he has the added distinction compared to, say, Ronaldo of Real Madrid. He's a team player, he's very modest, he's very hard-working, he never fakes injuries, he doesn't dive, and he doesn't get involved in cheating in any way. He's a model footballer, a model person in his behaviour off the field, as well as being a phenomenal player. Even if you didn't know anything about football, just to watch him is a real treat.
Last night's game with Chelsea and Manchester City was a crucial game. What are your thoughts?
Well, Manchester City looked for a long time, for 75 minutes, as if they were going to lose the game. Chelsea took the lead, and Manchester City brought Tevez off the bench, and he really injected some life into them. They didn't look like champions in waiting when they were under pressure. Against a very weak Chelsea team, without John Terry and Michael Essien, for example, without Sturridge as well, because they've got a big match against Spurs on Saturday and a Champions League match next week. So Chelsea weren't full strength, but it was a vital match for them as well, for their top 4 place. In the end, City got their 2 goals, and they scraped over the line, or they sort of fell over the line, if you like. With 9 matches to go, though, I would make Manchester United strong favourites. I don't think City are a team. I don't think they have the bottle to go on and win the championship. If they do, I think it would depend on Tevez being fit, fully fit. He didn't look 100% fit last night, and really firing for the next 9 games. In that eventuality, it's possible that City would win the championship, but I would say Manchester United have to be favourites. And of course, they play each other at the Etihad Stadium on, I think it's the 31st of April. So that will be maybe the key match. Yeah. So Manchester United will be my favourites at the moment.
Okay, and then to continue on our winning streak, what would be your biggest bankers for the weekend and week to come?
Right, well, I think there's some difficult matches at the weekend. Chelsea are playing Spurs at Stamford Bridge. It's a huge match. Chelsea absolutely have to win it. And if you are having to have a bet, I would favour Chelsea slightly. If you get probably even money about that bet, if you want to have it. But I would stick with the draws again this week. The first one is a local derby, Bolton-Blackburn. It's also a relegation dogfight. Now that's going to be very, very tight, very tough. Matches between those 2 clubs traditionally are very, very close. So I think there's a reasonable chance that might end up as a draw. So that's my first draw. Yeah, and my second match that I picked out is Swansea-Everton. Swansea are really flying, and they're confounding everybody with their performance. They're playing at home to Everton. Everton always hard side to beat. I think that is likely to be a draw. It'll be a very, very close match. Swansea play a lot of neat football. Everton will try to break it up and defend. So I would say Swansea-Everton would be the second game. I think might end up as a draw. The third game, again, it's West Brom and Newcastle. Newcastle going well. West Brom are doing fine as well. Nothing between those two teams really. I think just Newcastle might go there looking for a point and might get it. So in 3 doubles and a treble, I would recommend West Brom, Newcastle, Bolton, Blackburn, and Swansea, Everton. And I think there's a fair chance we might pick up again this week.
Brilliant. Listen, thanks for me again, Eamon, and we'll see you next week.
Pleasure.